Yes, sir. Don't adjust your streaming apparatus right now. It is Headkicks and Haymakers, and it is your boy K Witch, Mama's number one draft pick, and my guy, Mr. Bobby Blunts. And I gotta do it for our guy, brother Bodkins, who will be watching via transmission from satellite due to the fact of living in Amish country currently. So I gotta do it for him since he's not here. Hold on. Good Good evening, fight fans. And of course, welcome to another episode of Head Kicks and Haymakers, man. Today we got a little jazzy effect going on right now. We want to send a big shout out to our brother Bykins, who is experiencing some adverse weather conditions at the moment, along with several other people out there in the Midwest. So we're praying for everybody. Hopefully, everybody's going to be all right. A couple days without electricity hopefully doesn't affect too many people in a negative way, but brings the family closer together. Get the kids off to Fortnite and off to Roblox and Minecraft and all that other stuff, and let's play Uno in the dining room next to the candle. You know what I'm saying? Like let's do something like that. Like let's go outside and start a fire, dance around it a little bit. Get back to nature and look at the stars because half the city is black. Anyway, once again, man, my guy Bobby Blunts, man, how you doing? Welcome to the show again. We couldn't do without you, bro. So we're gonna run a two man today. How you feeling?
Feeling good, glad to be back. Got through the Apex on Saturday. The pace on the card seemed to be moving good, but the lifeless environment made it kind of hard to notice. But I'm sure we'll get in and talk about everything people have missed out that chose not to watch.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was one of those Apex cards where the names may escape you, but the fighting should have caught up with you. And unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. But hey, the Apex is what the Apex is. So we're just gonna go ahead and run it. Right at the top, man, the top of the card, we got that co-main with Chidi Unkani and Elise Zaliski. I remember that. That was a pretty good one. In the second round, got that TKO by some knees and some elbows. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty brutal. Then the one I thought was gonna be um a bit of a good exchange for 5 rounds. Little lackluster, but it is what it is. We got that Vittori loss to my guy Roman Dolidis by unanimous decision. As we look at the main event, bro, with Roman Dolidis coming out on top over Marvin Vittori, who at one point in time was on his way up. How are you feeling about that one, bro?
I mean, I don't know. Don't have many feelings on it, honestly. Let's step back up a little bit before we go to the main event because the card did start off with some decent finishes
Yeah.
and stuff, but it it always bewilders me to see like the immediate like credit the UFC tries to take. I don't know if you saw like their admin. They made that like Drake meme talking about like, oh, we heard all the fights in the Apex were boring, insinuating that they got the six finishes to start off. And I mean, I don't think people have been listening. I mean, we're not saying the fights are boring. The
Right.
fights are the fights. They more or less deliver. It's that environment that kind of feels like, lifeless. It just reminds me too much of WWE during the pandemic days, it's just strange. And I know that like there are a lot of people that are kind of used to it because they're new fans that have only known nothing but the Apex. But
Mhm.
when you're coming off a pay-per-view, it just kind of throws you off. Because by the time we got to the main event, like pretty much the entire time I was thinking like, hey, at least the card is moving good pace, so this ain't taking too much time. But I was more than ready for them to get it in the cage and get it over with because I did not see a scenario other than that one being a 25-minute decision. And It was a pretty bad fight. Neither guy really showed me much. And, Delise won, but, I know we normally do like what is next for them and stuff.
Right.
Please don't make a trilogy in the Apex because
Negative.
I feel like we're eventually going to see it because I just don't know where you put either of these guys. I mean, I know there's some turnover in the division, but like what did Delete say? Like move up one spot. So it's just kind of, if you look at the card this weekend in London, like you can't tell me that this Apex card, they would have been able to take that anywhere on the road. Like, let's not say London, but like anywhere with a crowd, they're not going to bring that in there because it is the definition of kind of an apex card. And granted, fighters performed and they got fight bonuses, so people got paid. But I'm getting really tired of having this, like when they're doing the announcements, it feels like you're at a little league game, and like the people that are like cheering for like the one kid that no one's cheering for, and it's just like eventually it just gets kind of like tiring. Like, isn't it supposed to be like, they talk about being the mecca and stuff, but a lot of it just, they talk one way and they walk another. So good win by Roman, but I normally go back and rewatch all the fights to prepare for this, and I couldn't even do that to myself. Like one and done was enough for this one.
I'm in the same boat, man. I actually got a chance to check out maybe at least half of the co-main, which of course that's really just that one round, pretty much. And I caught the knockout, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, And it's one of those nights where it's moving and grooving. I'm looking at, I'm watching the stuff. Big shouts out to our guy, Rob Nakamura, who normally has the extra Twitter space open for everybody in the conversations. So I'm paying attention, but just not visually watching. And then all of a sudden we get to the main, and Dolades and Vittori are kind of putting everybody to sleep as I'm watching them talk about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, let me get back to the TV. Am I missing something? And they were right. You know what I mean? For 5 rounds, I would really consider this. We could have did this in three, boys. You know what I'm saying? Pack the kids up, send them home. We could have did that in three, and still probably came out with the same type of outcome. For me, you made mention of that log jam that they kind of got right there at that 7 through 10 position as we look at the rankings. Right now, I'm assuming with the win that they've already moved Dolidze up a little bit. So you got him right there at 9, Vittori down here at 10, down, I think 2 spots since the loss. Where do we see them going from here? Of course, this is where the rubber meets the road for somebody like Dolidze, man. To me, we got to look at the next upcoming thing for guys like Kyle Barharlo and Jared Cannonier, who just came off a really big win. And somehow maybe mix that up. Cannonier, who was on a pace to be in title contention multiple times, but just seemed to come up with really tough losses back to back to back. Finally got the win that he's been looking for. Is it possible that we can get a little bit of a bit of a clash right there? Because of course, Dolidze's kind of been on a similar path where he had some really good wins, and then but prior to that, of course, he lost to Vittori. These last what 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, two of which have come against Vittori. Yeah, they've been pretty deciding. You know what I'm saying? That Anthony Smith one, where he's pretty much begging them to hit him and take him out. I think this kind of creates a vacuum in which we got to say, hey, look, we're going to try to get you towards where you need to be, where you're doing co-mains on a pay-per-view, but you got to give us something. That Vittori fight was not it. You gave us something when we got you up against when we had you up against the ropes. We got a Mamov in there with the win against you. You got Vittori twice. Like, show us something, and we're going to put you in the ring with somebody the likes of Carvajal. Like I said, Jared Cannonier's above him in the rankings right now. And that next move has got to be his best move. And he's got to put on a performance, in my opinion. But I'm not mad at Deliza. He's a tenured guy. He's been around for a good little minute. And then when you get to five, that is where you begin to go. Oh, okay. You wanna go for the title. You want to shot at the big boys. I don't think necessarily Robert Whitaker is a good choice because the hangman is the hangman. That's how I feel about it. If Robert Whitaker's, he still might not be ready after getting his jaw cracked in half. But right there at 6 and 7, 6, 7, 8, I would probably skip Anthony Hernandez and do Cannonier or Cal Bahalo if it was available. Sometime toward the third or fourth quarter, and take them out of the apex, guys. It's not it's giving crowd noise. You know what I mean? When the COVID was happening, I feel like it could be better. Maybe they need to start giving out like crazy tickets or something. Like the first 120 people get selected, we're gonna bring you into the apex to make some noise and give us some life because I feel like just like you said, bro, it's like dead fish after about that second or third round, especially when they do 5 round fights.
Yeah, and I mean the crazy thing about it to me too is like if you look at it through the UFC's aspect, they probably have absolutely no complaints with what they got on Saturday because in their mind, very low cost. Both guys are definitely on the show win setup. And I think the UFC knows exactly what they have in Marvin Vettori and Roman Dolidze. And they are, apex headliners, pretty much guys that they have built enough of a name on to where they can put them at the top of an apex card and get away with having some of the lackluster builds and cards. And it's not always like this, so I don't mean to be like harping on it like so negatively, but it really just I don't know if it's because like the next 3 weeks the UFC has lined up, but there are a lot of good fights they have coming up in the next 2 weeks. So maybe I'm just a little bit more excited for those. But you know, unfortunately, I don't know if Delete Save's ever getting out of the Apex because they might just, keep him booked on there. I don't think anyone deserves to fight on the Apex. He absolutely deserves to be on, the main card of a pay-per-view or something. I mean, I think that's where they had the Smith fight, which was a short notice fight, if that. So,
Mhm.
I don't know. I think a lot of it's going to be on the new broadcast partner if they have one, but it does not seem from Shapiro's comments and stuff that it's going away. So we're just kind of going to have to deal with it and move on. I mean, like I said, they have 4 weeks of great fights coming up. They're so good that I almost might forget that the Josh Emmett, Lorraine Murphy fight is in the Apex right before Miami, but it is. So expect me to, bitch about it again in a couple of weeks. But, until then, this London card is stacked pretty well. So I think we'll get at least a little bit more excitement for that. So, but all in all, can't take anything away from Roman. I mean, he did the job that he was assigned to. He
Mhm.
got the win. So, not to sour on his performance, good for him. But for the love of God, don't give me a trilogy.
Nah, man. Definitely not worth having a trilogy. I think this was even now. Let's be honest. Even though we are sort of poo pooing on it a little bit, it was enough of a performance to go, okay, we get it. He's a little unmatched. He's a little undermatched in terms of your skill set right now. They looked all right to me. In the first one, they looked a little more even, and it just came. It just so happened Dolize got out with the W.
And
This one,
the first one was in London. Like, if it was in front of a crowd, I would have been so much more engaged. But after that first round in the PEX, it's
right.
just lifeless. And you're like, okay, this is what we're doing. See you in 25 minutes. Like,
25 whole minutes, bro. And what, like we said, the trilogy is not a necessity. I think it's pretty much good that we got it where we got it. It was some apex worthy fighting, and that's what we're gonna leave it at. So as we move on, dog, we got it going on Saturday, March 22nd, as we look forward to UFC London. That's right. They got a fight night in London, ladies and gentlemen. So that means we're going across the pond. But we're going across the pond midday, well, mid afternoon. So we're starting around like 4 o'clock. The prelims going on a little bit before that. And it looks pretty stacked. You know how they do, man. When we go to Brazil, we got Brazilians. We go to Australia, we got Australians. This time, we got some of England's best and brightest, not only lacing the prelims, but on the main card as well. And up top, right there at the main, man, we got to see the guy, man. The guy back at it once again, Mr. Headshot Dead himself, Leon Edwards against the American Sean Brady. We got our guy, one of the biggest, heaviest punchers, going up against up and comer Carlos Ulbrich. We got Jan Blachowicz. This is going to be a pretty good one. And then it's some more in there. We got Gunnar Nelson, you know what I'm saying? Kevin Holland. Big shouts out to Kevin Holland who, for some odd reason, can't stop digging himself a hole with his mouth. It's one of those things where I wish he'd just be really good and stop, like, kind of bitching and complaining. Marlon McCann, Alexia Tirana, Jordan Vucevic. Like, this one looks like something, even though it's full of names that you might not recognize because they're, guys from the UK. This looks a little more exciting, and of course, with it being in the O2 Arena in London, the crowd's going to be live. We don't have to worry about Bobby getting a little sleepy after like the third fight on the main card. How you feel about this one, bro?
I mean, the complete opposite of how I felt about Saturday. I mean, this is it right here. Like starting from the prelims up, you got very good fights. You got like a tough rematch from a Irishman versus a guy from England. So that should be a pretty good one. You got Mama B fighting. So that's all on the prelims. So that should be more than good there. But this is like the complete opposite of the
Completely.
Apex because, they're going to show out. They're going to be in there from the first fight. So, they're going to probably start the broadcast with the first two fighters in the cage. And, it's just going to be action from the jump. And, this should like be the standard like all the time. And granted, I completely understand not all of them can be like this,
Not
but if
all.
you compare this to last week, I mean, these are kind of, the complaints that we're saying like you could never take this card out on the road or something. Like this is an Apex card. So like if you want a comparison of the standard, just compare the two. I mean, keep in mind, like this wasn't even the original main event. Like the original main event was supposed to be Leon versus JDM, and that got pulled. And I mean, I may be completely biased here, but that is the matchup I originally wanted because I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was a good test for Leon getting another wrestler after the lackluster performance against Bilal in London. And so it was going to, really show up to see if he, switched it. So, to me, you can't do much better than this for a fight night. Like you put a title fight on this. This is easily a pay-per-view worthy card with that main card there. And Molly McCann is always a scene in London there. So not too sure if the matchmaking is going to allow that. Hopefully it will, but we'll see what her opponent brings. But yeah, this is definitely it on Saturday for sure.
For sure, dog. And you know how it goes, man. As we look into the main card, there are some good names that we got to definitely recognize from the prelims up. We'll start down there at the bottom, man. Right there at the beginning. We got Chris Duncan, Jordan Vucinic. Like, this is, I think, one of the ones that I'm anticipating. I've seen Vucinic fight on some other promotion. Because I was looking at it like, I swear I know this guy from somewhere.
He's got
Um,
like the full all blacked out
yeah,
tattoo.
that's yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming to me because but I've seen him tear somebody apart on something that like I just stumbled upon. on accident. And I think it's what is it? ADB. He got a win in there, and he got a loss. He got one loss in the UFC. Actually, right now he is on in his last five fights. He's got one loss. He's got some guillotines in here. He's got a guillotine, Kamara, rear naked. It looks like he is catching guys on the ground and he is getting them up out of there. He lost his last fight by unanimous decision. So coming up with this one against Chris Duncan, right now, as I look at the numbers from our favorite friends at Tapology, you know how it goes, man. It's a little biased, but out of 997 people, we got 82% going for Vucinic right here, with the largest percentage coming in by sub, which basically means, hey, look, the last four out of the last five fights, he's been subbing guys. They don't think this one's going to be any different. And I appreciate, Mr. Duncan coming out here, who has also won four out of his last five fights between 2022 and now. So he's been pretty big. So in real life, Vucinic has been pretty busy. Chris Duncan has had a little bit of time off. Sometimes we get a chance to recognize where that ring rust will kind of shine through, and others who, having that constant competition, especially in the last year and some change, works on it. So I'm excited about this one. We got Bykins in the building. What's going on, Nick? Hey man, you know what I'm saying? Keep those candles going, brother. Definitely keep those candles going. Nick says he likes Brady in that one. I'm with you. Let's see what we got. We're gonna keep it rolling, of course. So out of that first one, like I said, Vucevic seems to have the crowd going with him right now. The epidemic, please don't, no epidemics, no pandemics, no nicknames like that against Chris the Problem Duncan. So we're gonna go ahead and roll with Vucevic on this one. What you thinking about as you look at that first one on the main card, Bobby?
Yeah, I'd probably lean that way too. I mean, he's rarely ever in a boring fight. I mean, even when it goes to the ground, you see action. It's not like he's just laying and stalling on someone. So, that has kind of been Duncan's issue in the past too. So I could definitely see it leaning that way. Is that the opening fight on the main card, or is Nathaniel Wood opening on the main?
You're correct, brother. I actually skipped over that on accident. You got Nathaniel Wood and
The
Shiriar. What is you? It's
the
French.
last pirate. He's a French cat.
Oui, oui.
Yeah, that one is, I think, is going to have some low key heat. I'm pretty excited for that. I think that's a
Mhm.
great choice to start off with the main card there for sure.
Yeah, man. The featherweight division always gives us a little bit of action. Those guys love the scrap and love the bang. When we get into it, right, we got the last pirate who's coming in on a good little streak, looks like. Let me see what it looks like is four out of his last five fights. He's been taking on some really good competition. And he's got basically split decision, body kick, and then he lost by split decision in December of 2024, which is last year. But hey, even in losses, he's been on. He's gotten a fight of the night bonus. He's got a performance of the night bonus from 2023, and right now, Gabriel Miranda was his last fight in what was that, September of 2024. Pretty much won that by left hook in round two. So we're looking forward to seeing what he does up against some steep competition like Nathaniel Wood, the prospect, Nathaniel the prospect Wood. You know how it goes with these England guys. They're out here ready to clash heads and everything. Once again, four of the last five fights, he's come out on top. And in the competition wise, we're looking at basically, unanimous decision, unanimous decision, unanimous decision. He's pretty much been winning, leaving the guy standing. But hey, look, when you're good at what you do, you're good at what you do. Even if it comes to leaving it in the arms or the hands of the judges. But in two of these, I see two of his last bouts, one against Cameron Elsie and Alexis Carceres. I know his name. I know this one too. These were grappling matches actually. So he's been getting that work in even when it's not in the octagon, which is pretty dope. I like this one here when I want to make a pick for it though. The names are not gonna make me pick one. You know what I'm saying? It's really about who's been staying the busiest, and of course, for me, Cherier, the last pirate, is who I'm probably gonna roll with this one, and I'm gonna stick on that one. What you think about Bobby?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
I would
probably,
probably.
you know, I don't want to see either guy really lose. I'm a fan of Nathaniel Wood. So it's but the other dude is, an up and comer and he is definitely pretty well rounded. So it should be a pretty good matchup. I will probably lean toward the last pirate, but I'm very interested to see what type of fight we get because Nathaniel Wood always shows up. So I don't think he's gonna get really steamrolled or anything. I think the Last Pirate's a little bit of a favorite, but not too heavy of one.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'd probably go the Last Pirate on that one, but definitely excited, to see what he has. I definitely think, he is someone that kind of knows how to market himself and stuff. And the
Right.
sport has definitely really evolved quickly in France. Not everyone is Cyril Gahn. So, let's see what he's got and see how far he can go.
Yeah, UFC's got him at minus 192. Nathaniel Wood at plus dog at 160. And as we look at our friends over there on Tapology, 1,087 people are going with Mr. Christian Wood at 63%, coming through, winning by decision, which, of course, as you just heard me say, he's been winning by decision for the last two and some change. But Cherier, let's see if he can actually bring the funk in this one and put some pause to him maybe, and let's see if we can do a little mixing it up and not leaving it in the judge's hands. Then of course we moving up the card a little bit. We got the straw weight, man. These ladies know how to throw down, two of which I'm actually excited to see: Alexia Tirana and then Miss Molly McCain. Okay, now once again, you know how we do it, man. We are in London. We are not at the Apex. This will be one of those that I'm excited to see. So of course we got Molly, Miss Meatball, what it do, and of course Miss Alexia Tirana. Somehow, some way, Molly's coming off of some tough losses between her last five fights. She's lost three out of five, but Alexia is coming in winning her last five. This is one of those where it could go either way. Right now, looking at UFC, when we talk about the women, they got them at pretty much pick them right now. Even though Molly is coming off of these losses, this is still an opportunity for her to get back into the win column. And as I look at our homies from Tapology, we got Toronto coming up right now with 75% of the votes. We're basically saying our Tapology community is going up with 401 voters at the moment. And they're saying about decision. It's a tough one. So I'm going to take a little deeper dive into what's been going on with Molly McCann. So of course, her losing her last three, four. Somehow, some way, we got Bruno Brazil got lost by decision. Then we've got two wins by armbar in the first round. So it's looking like for real. We need Molly to go ahead and do her thing and get her jujitsu and her wrestling going and see if she could pull a W out of the hat on this one. Alexa Toronto, man, with the way she's been storming through the competition, it's kind of scary to see what she may be able to do because once again, she is coming from Brazil, coming from a camp where they're going to be doing a lot of wrestling, a lot of that jujitsu, and a lot of submissions. Like we said, out of those last one, two, three, we got two arm bars, one decision, and yeah, matter of fact, two unanimous decisions, and one, two, three subs. We got an arm bar, and we had two rear nakeds. So this is one of those where this possibly could go back and forth. I'm looking for this to go all the way to the end, but somehow, some way, we're gonna roll with Molly McCann for me, man. She's gonna pull that W out on this one. I'm looking for this one to go to the judges' scorecards, though. I think that she's gonna come in there just a little bit cautious, just because of the idea of, hey, look, the competition on the other side of the ring is capable of putting her down on her back, where she can lose a lot of points, basically being in a non-dominant position and possibly being worried about getting subbed. So let's see if we can basically keep if Molly can try and keep this one standing on there.
Yo, what's up, Kev? Um, yeah, it's real tough for me, man. Because Molly definitely seems to have, those issues when she is put up against the grappler and stuff. If it's just a strike kind of heavy matchup, she'll kind of be able to use her power and accelerate. But they definitely did her no favors, matching her up with the Brazilian. So,
Right.
she'll definitely have the vibes because with no Patty there, like she's pretty much going to get that place's energy.
Mm,
I would undoubtedly expect her to get the loudest pop in the arena that night. I know some people would think that'd be controversial. I'm sorry, I don't even think that really is. Go back and watch the Patty, Patty's entrance, like compared to like Leon and Bilal. So,
mm,
I mean, they definitely seem to get that like over, crowd pop. So, um, I don't know if it's going to be enough though, because like you said, she's really been steaming through people. So I think if Molly is going to win, she's going to have to try to get it done early and just, you know, try to get a finish with her power. But you know, not to go against the vibes, but I'm probably going to have to be picking Alexa here. But
mm.
definitely fully hoping, for a Molly win because it does nothing but excite the crowd even more and get the place even more, louder, and it would make those last three fights even more electric. So, I really hope she can pull it off. I could definitely see avenues where she can win the fight, but it just might be too much recency bias with me seeing her, against other grapplers and stuff. But who knows? It's not like Alexa doesn't need to use that. I'm pretty sure she's fairly confident in her striking as well.
Mhm.
But if you're making me pick, I'm gonna have to go Alexa.
Ah, man, that's a tough one. Right now, like I said, basically UFC's got them right now at a pick 'em straight even odds at the moment. We going up just a little bit. We going to welterweight. We got Gunnar Nelson. All right, going up against the smooth talker, the loud talker, the mouth of the South, if you will, Mister Kevin Holland. This one right now, Kevin's at plus money with 124. Gunnar Nelson at minus 148. The underdog. Hey, now this is somehow Gunnar Nelson as the underdog in this one seems a little off. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I
I
tripping?
believe he's the favorite, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Let's check this.
I think he was like minus 174.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You got minus 174. Well, UFC sites got him at 140.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much like they
148.
adjust when it goes in. Keep in mind he's coming off a 2-year layoff too.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland is like the more active guy,
Mhm.
but
But even
you
in
know,
Kevin Holland's activity, man, it's we've talked about this on multiple occasions. It's that kid in the classroom when the teacher's not looking and he puts the answer on the board. He doesn't know how to show his answers. He's got the answer right. He puts it up on the board. He's got all the pieces to the puzzle of the math problem. And then when you go, well, how'd you get that answer? He goes, I don't know. That to me is Kevin Holland right now. Uh, it's really lackluster, bro. 5 fights, 1 win, 2 of which I know I watched. I know we talked about, and he could have won had he not had a better preparation for it. And he kind of talked his way out of looking better after a loss, if you will. Right now, so he's going up against what Gunnar Nelson, straight out of Iceland, just like you said, bro. Out of the last 5 years, his last fight was 1 year and 11 months ago. That's a little bit of a layoff for me. It could possibly be a layup. I mean, you know, when you get subbed by Rear Naked Choke less than a month and 3 weeks ago, right? Um, you didn't really burn out anything. You know what I mean? You kind of did still got time to do what you want to do. Oh yeah, yo, big shots out there. Yeah, big shots out to Kevin Holland, bro. I'm not sleeping on the ability. One of the things I know for a fact is when it was happening, when the Apex was real, when we got to hear him, he was taking in that knowledge. He was soaking it in. He was listening. He was applying everything every time they got an opportunity to put him in there. But somewhere in making that tequila commercial, man. I don't know. I'm not saying that the money made him do something different, but he's content with being middle class, middle of the lane in the division, and it's cool. Hey, look, I'm not. If that's what you want, if you don't want what comes with being the champ, then don't do that. But also, don't go out there and not give it 110%. You know what I'm saying? Don't go out there and give it 110%. Is wait. Oh wait. I love this doctrine. Yeah, yeah, it sure did. Yep. Fine. Yep. Mentally, yeah. I think he's one of those people that would rather go off than try as hard as and fail, bro. Listen, as an adult, I too have had one of those stumbling blocks where I go, well, I'd rather not necessarily do it than give it my all and not make it. But somewhere in there, when it really depends on me, like it does in the UFC ring, I gotta go out. You might as well knock me out, bro. Just, I rather be that guy. Be like, oh, did he get me? You know what I'm saying? And give it my all. But hey, it is what it is. So as we look at it, man, right now UFC's got Kevin Holland at plus 124, Gunnar Nelson 148. Like we said, man, with that long layoff, Bobby, is this another occasion where the ring rust factors into the level of competition we'll see in the ring, or Kevin Holland's activity versus the inactivity will do this match justice? What you thinking?
I don't know. I can kind of see it both ways. I mean, especially like I can, because I know Gunner's been doing like a lot of coaching and stuff. So if it was straight like off the couch for 2 years, it'd be a lot more concerning. But knowing he's been in shape and stuff like that, he isn't really going into this fight with you know um, anger of the last fight or anything like that. He can kind of just put that out of his mind, where Kevin is slowly kind of coming up on it. I know it really does not make too much of a difference to him. I mean, I think they permanently took him off the win show when he accepted the Chimaev fight on short notice. So I mean, ever since then, either way he gets his check. But one thing I am kind of positive about for Kevin is the fact that it's not on a pay per view. Normally, when it's on a pay per view, that automatically means he has to do a little bit extra media, like with the press conference and stuff. And I think that kind of pulls him out of the fight a little. Like, not to, psychoanalyze too much, but, how many times can you be asked the same question of, hey, Kevin, well, how are you going to get this win on Saturday night and stuff? So, you know, hopefully him having to do a little bit less media will be able for him to clear his head. But stylistically, it's not the best matchup for him. I mean, Gunner is good at the things that Kevin has struggled at in the past, but at the same time, Kevin more than can defend himself with his jiu-jitsu there. But I would expect Kevin to come out early in the first round and kind of apply the pressure and try to take advantage, if of any, of the layoff of Gunner, and that's probably Kevin's best chance of getting it done quickly. But if he doesn't, I don't know. I think Gunner will be able to shut down enough of what he does to grind out a decision. So. Hart is definitely wanting to say big mouth on this, but unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to lean towards Gunner on this.
Man, six losses out of 6 losses. Well, excuse me, 5 losses out of the last 6. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
That's tough to come back from. But if
And,
anybody,
and no one's going to be rooting for him harder than me. Like I should just take the L on the pick and pick him. But I mean, if I'm trying to be completely unbiased and honest, I just definitely think, he has the most fights. I mean, like Bakken said, he should win, but what is that gonna like entail? Like, when will the game plan fly out the window?
I mean, and as you mentioned, bro, even though we're seeing inactivity on the kind of on the scale of using the eye test right now. You mentioned it. He's been coaching. He's been in the gym. He's been working out guys. He's been constantly in and around the fight game. It's not like he's necessarily just been away from MMA, in a darkness retreat or something. You know what I mean? He's been
Yeah, and
around.
they're using him on this card for a reason because,
Mhm.
like, they ain't putting him on the Apex card. It's because it's in London.
Hey, you there you go. Magic words. They're not putting him in the apex. They're putting him in on this one right here. For me, man, this is another one where I want to see Kevin Holland succeed. I want to see how far he may dig in order to pull a win out of this one. Because, of course, the last couple times we got an opportunity to see Mr. Gunnar Nelson, man, he's been putting on out there. And one of the biggest ones, a few years ago was definitely over Alex Oliveira, if y'all I'm not mistaken. He choked him out. That's a big deal. But these other losses to Leon Edwards, who eventually became the champion, to Gilbert Burns, who's always somewhere at the top of the division, like he lost to some really tough competition. What 5 and 6 years ago. But since then, 2 years ago, Takashi Sato got him on decision, and that last one, Brian Barberena, basically with the armbar. I wasn't in attendance. I'm going to say I was in attendance, but I watched that one. Just like you mentioned, bro, he's good at a lot of the things that Kevin Holland is bad at, and I am going to have to go with the guy with the most experience, who's coaching, who's in and out of the ring, and now is going to apply all of that technique he's been putting with the guys from that fight camp from Millionaire. And we're just going to go ahead and run with Gunnar Nelson on this one, bro. And as I look up here, for my friends from Tapology. 1,133 people select Gunnar Nelson to win this one. The largest margin is by sub, where they're going basically going 83.5% predict him winning by submission. So we're going to keep that one in there. But no, Kevin Holland, man, I want to see him go. I just want to see him go all out. I want to see him put the pedal to the metal. I want to see him put the pressure on. And if he loses, have him lose with his on his shield. You know what I'm saying? Have him go out, swinging. And even if it's decision, let it be by split decision. Let it be tough give the judges something to work on when they're putting down the scores and whatnot. So even though I'm picking Gunnar Nelson, I definitely want to see what's the best of Kevin Holland in order to see how far it goes.
And even Kevin has lost, even though he's lost four in a row. Like, you just went over, what Gunnar Nelson has done. If he gets a win over Gunnar Nelson, he's right back in the conversation.
For
Like, this
sure.
is the perfect opponent to kind of absolve, everything that has been going right for him. But, I am kind of interested to see what kind of. If he's going to get anything, from the crowd and stuff. Because granted, they'll be rooting for Gunner, but he definitely goes off like energies of crowds and stuff like that. So it would not shock me at the least if we can get a vintage Big Mouth win and then a great mic promo. But I don't know. I hope to see it, but we'll see.
Yeah, man, I'm in agreement with you. I would not be shocked if Kevin won and then gave us one of those. See what happens when I give it 110%. you know, that type of comment. I could definitely hear Kevin going and saying something crazy like that. See what happens when I give it my all. You get performances like that in London. Like I can only imagine, bro. All right, so moving on, moving up there. Ooh, the co-main. This is, I think, a good one. Definitely where I want to lay my hat, so to speak. Right here we got the big guy, Jan Blachowicz, going up against Carlos Ulbrich from out of New Zealand. We got Poland. We got New Zealand. We got a slobber knocker. We got Carlos Ulbrich right now at minus 225. Jan Blachowicz at plus 185. It's going down in the light heavyweight division. Now, a lot of noise has been made, of course, since we got an opportunity to see belts switch hands a week or so ago. And now we got some guys who, hey, look, if titles are on the line in one or two different fights, one of these guys is definitely going to be the next up because I mean, it's gotta start, kind of flowing downhill a little bit if it's not Alex Pereira. And then of course, if it is Alex Pereira, then maybe we can get one of these guys to get close enough to go, hey, look, I want to do a title contention fight because I just, worked my way towards it. So let me fight Pereira for no reason except for rather than to be on the main on a main event on a pay per view. So let's see how this one goes. So right now, as I take a look at the stats from this one, guy Carlos Ulbrich, man, is on a little 5 fight win streak. He's been doing this thing since 22. He's got some really notable wins, man. From Ozemir, he's got a decision win over that guy. Alonzo Menafield, I watched that one, knocked him out. Daewoo Jung, that was a sub, so he got a little different on the ground right there. And then, of course, somewhere about 2.5 years ago, that Nikolai Negamureno, I remember that one. That was about 2 years ago. He did pretty good on that one. But then, we got Jan Blachowicz, man, who seems to somehow find his way at the top of the division every year. One of those names that you got to pay attention to. Last he lost, of course, to Pereira about a year and some change ago via split decision. So I'm sure that one hurt him. He caught a draw against Ankalaev. Of course, we know Ankalaev is now the current champion. So he's kind of had his last two losses were against the current and then who was the champ. So we can give him a little bit of credit for that one. Got a win on Rakic, lost to Glover Teixeira. Shout out to the old man, and then took out Israel Adesanya. So, Jan has been throughout this division as one of the guys where just one more fight, just one more, could put him where he wants to be back in a title fight. And somehow, some way, he's just ran into a couple of roadblocks, especially in the last two. This one right here, if I'm looking at the rankings, we could definitely see him be catapulted right there, above Yuri, who just, pretty much had a really good win against Jamal Hill. We could be seeing some type of logjam with guys who won, where eventually, if Alex Pierre doesn't get the immediate rematch against Ankalaev, a win right here would definitely say, okay, we got to have a title eliminator. So for me, can Ulbrich be the guy who puts the brakes on Jan Blaskowicz's like third or fourth title run? I think so. But in this case, it's kind of a to me it's like one of those, there's levels to this. You know what I'm saying? Um, Ulbrich is down here at 6, and he's down there at 6 for a reason. If he was to win, then we throw him in top 4, top 3, real easy. But in my opinion, Blachowicz comes out with the W on this one. Maybe we take it all the way. Uh, it's tough, man. It's tough, but maybe we take it all the way. Maybe it goes to the scorecard, but we still end up with Blachowicz as the winner, getting his hand raised at the end of this one. How you feel about this one, Bobby?
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
I don't think it's a coincidence at all that this matchup is a week after the 205 title fight, because you said it best. Jan has, not only did he have fight against Pereira, but he actually has a draw against the current reigning champion.
Mhm.
So, that definitely holds for some stock there. He's been out quite a bit of time. I guess he had surgery on both shoulders,
Yeah.
Jan. So, but, stylistically, I mean, we saw when Adesanya went up to 205 and tried to win the 205 title. And, he won the first round, but eventually Jan was able to, use the wrestling to pressure him and get on top of him there. Now, Olberg is definitely a different striker, and he's definitely has a lot more mass than Izzy did when he went up to 205 there. So I wouldn't necessarily think it would go down the exact same way, but I kind of have to agree with you in thinking that Jan will, after the first round, be able to kind of weather the storm and be able to walk away with a decision, probably. I think Olberg's best path to victory would be to try to take him out early because it's been a while since Jan has been in there.
Mhm.
Very similar to the last fight with Holland there. So I do definitely think whoever wins this fight is probably one
AJ.
away from being in that conversation. And I definitely think this is a worthy co-main event for sure. So definitely looking forward to it going down. But I'll probably have to go with Jan there.
Yeah, man, I'm in the same boat. I'm really feeling as though this is one of those situations where um, the level of competition that Jan has faced is just a little more dense. You know what I'm saying? We just talked about it. Facing Pereira, facing Ankalaev, going up against Izzy, and basically showing us that not only is he capable of using them hands, but once he gets them hands on you to wrestle, that's what he does best. Leading me to think that somewhere in the cards could be a possible if it does stay in the current champion's hand long enough. A win like that could catapult him to say, "Hey, we got to do that again, big dog. We got to draw this time, but we're not going to leave it in the judge's hands." Um, for me, man, Blaskowitz, and this is not a knock on Ulbrich at all. This is definitely not a knock on Ulbrich and the competition he's faced and how well he's done in his last couple fights. I think that this is just the way that the cards are set for him. He could take one loss, he can go back, hit the drawing board, and then do a fight against somebody like a Jamal Hill, do a fight against Yuri Prohaska, and then wind up still not having had suffered such a big defeat, so to speak, even if this does go to the judges' scorecards. So I'm content with saying Jan with this one, but I'm excited to see what will happen with Ulbrich going forward. Now, if Ulbrich lands one of those punches, one of those hooks, and knocks him out, I'm not surprised. Let's put it like that. I won't be surprised if this fight ends early either way for Ulbrich or for Blachowicz. But I'm gonna put my if I did bet, which y'all know how that go. I'm gonna put my hard-earned money on Blachowicz with that one. And this is where we have the rubber meet the road, baby, because we got to get to the main event now. Unless you've been
Yeah.
living under the rock.
Last thing on Olberg there, definitely the speed is where I could see the blitzing for sure because he's definitely faster than Jan. But as Jan says, he's got that Polish power too. So
Mm-hmm.
be
Yeah,
a solid main event. Back to
Polish
the
pop.
men.
Yeah, Polish Poppy is out here in the streets, whooping up on the youngsters. Blossom, it's been around for a while, but yeah, as we get into the main, if you've been living under a rock, we got Rocky Leon Edwards against none other than Sean Brady, the American, hopefully willing to put it all on the line and reach to new heights. As of course, Brady is somewhere down there in the rankings right now, but Leon is coming off of a tough loss against the now champion. It's weird to see to feel like we watched Bilal Muhammad win against Leon, but did you know in my mind is like, did we see him win or did we see Leon lose? You know what I mean? How
We
does that
saw Bilal dominate.
exactly? So how does that affect the psyche of somebody like Leon Edwards? Can he bounce back from that type of loss? And can he bounce back against this type of competition, this level of competition? Because right now, Sean Brady ain't playing, bro. Sean Brady definitely is coming out there to make a name for himself or stamp his name in the ranks of the UFC. Sean Brady basically coming out with 4 out of the last 5 wins. Of course, he's been pretty active, man. Last win against Gilbert Burns, y'all saw. I think we had a conversation about that one. Beat up Kelvin Gastelum, got him with a sub out of that one. He took a tough loss against the now champion Bilal Muhammad. He took a TKO with that one. Then Michael
Age
Chiesa.
lost his age kind of beautifully if you kind of look at it too.
Yeah, I mean these are this that is a tough that's a tough loss. You know, he got a knockout, but then look, Chiesa dominates him, got him by unanimous decision. Jake Matthews, sub, arm triangle choke. This guy isn't playing around with Leon right now. Of course, we know his track record. Took that last loss, got Kobe in and out of there, got Kamaru in and out of there, got Kamaru in and out of there again with the head kick, and Nate Diaz before that. But
Well,
right now, this
I will
is
take issue with the got Kobe out of there. That was a terrible fight from both people.
terrible fight.
Sorry to interrupt.
Nah, bro. No, you. Hey, look, man. When you ain't lying, you ain't lying. It wasn't a good fight. It was ugly. Kobe did not look like the Kobe we thought we were going to get. He talked a good game. He even brought Donald Trump out here to watch him look like that. Oh my God, how you gonna have the now president look at you perform in such a trash manner? But hey, look, when you want that dragon energy, sometimes you got to eat some dragon fruit, and he did not eat the fruit that day. I promise you. But anyway, as we are on to current events. Sean Brady once again, Leon Rocky Edwards. As I look down at our guys from Tapology, 1,111 people are putting Leon Rocky Edwards on this one by decision. That's 54% are going with Leon Edwards. And to me, I don't know. The I don't want to pass judgment too early. So let's see what you got to say, Bobby. How do you feel? Which way are you going with the Sean Brady, Leon Edwards bout?
I'm going to try to keep this as neutral as possible because, in what I'm saying, I know it will not sound like that at all. Um, so I saw Leon and his coach. So full disclosure, I was already leaning towards picking Brady in this matchup. Just stylistically, they both have a loss against the champ. But this is a very tough fight for Leon to take, knowing that he had a matchup with JDM. So, the JDM fight, you would kind of assume that would be pretty much a kickboxing match. This Leon is definitely going to have to be wary of the wrestling. Now, granted, his last, 4 or 5 opponents have had that exact same base. So it's not like it's a style that he's not used to, dealing with. However, you go back to that Bilal fight, and Bilal definitely seemed to have. The answer with being able to pressure him and initiating the takedown. So when I saw Leon and his coach both have an interview on Ariel Hawani's show, it really threw me off because, granted, Ariel kind of set them up with the zingers, mentioning the time zone and stuff like that for his last loss. And, if that would have happened like a week or two, a month or two after the fight, I would have had no issue with it. But for him to be saying that shit the week of the fight, not only him, but his coach, that is a giant red flag to me. And, I was already kind of leaning towards Brady in the first place. And, like Leon had the line of, well, I know 9 out of 10 times, I beat Bilal, and that was just the off thing. So is he telling the truth on that? Or is that more like Michael Chandler saying, if I fight Charles Oliveira, 20 times, I'll beat him 18 out of 20 times? Because, it at a certain point, it makes you kind of question there. But all that being said, Leon has definitely been waiting to get this back. You gotta imagine in some aspect he's been semi training for a Bilal rematch just on the small chance that they get that. So, stylistically, him and Brady are kind of similar in that aspect. But, Bilal's striking is definitely different than Brady's. I think Leon's best bet is that Brady is going to try to make it grappling heavy. So his best chance is to, maintain the distance and try to make it a point, fighting fight, which would definitely indicate, Leon by decision if he wins. But I definitely think you're justified in kind of the unease of what Leon you're going to be getting. Granted he hasn't been the most active. I think he wanted to take some time getting it back, but in my opinion, the excuses kind of stop here. Like, what happens when he loses this fight? If he does, he's not going to be able to blame the time and stuff, and I would have just liked to see a little bit of, you know, the better man won that night, and it clearly wasn't me. But to Leon, he still clearly thinks he's the better man. Now, obviously, fighting, you have to be that extremely arrogant and thinking that you can beat everyone. So maybe I'm putting way too much thought into that. But it just kind of was in the back of my mind when I was already leaning of picking Brady. Like, I know Tapology is selecting Leon, but I believe Brady is a slight betting favorite. And when you see the last fight, I could totally understand why. So I'll probably still lean Brady. I think he can pressure him enough and find a submission in the middle of the fight.
Man, you're leaving me some just a few tidbits on the bone there, bro. Because you took pretty much what I was gonna kind of roll with. To me, man,
My bad.
yeah. To me, dog, you pretty much said it, dog. It stylistically, this does not bode well for Leon. Okay, we saw Leon go in there with Bilal, and Bilal pretty much, rode him like my son's play pony. You know what I'm saying? In the same essence, Sean has similar wrestling and takedown prowess. Somehow, some way, are we saying that mentally Leon is preparing to possibly take on another matchup with Bilal? So he's now prepared to either stop the takedowns or prepared to wrestle more off of his back. I'm hoping so. Let's put it like that. I'm hoping that he learned. We just saw one of the greatest light heavyweights ever supposedly stop one of the best wrestlers in the division 12 times and still take a loss. You know what I'm saying? Do I think Leon is that much more competent than Alex Pierre? No. Negative. I do not. But I do think that Leon is capable of putting up enough of a fight where this will not be taken to the ground and all of a sudden not left in the judges' hands. I think this will go straight to the scorecard. I think this is going definitely on some split decision. And if it does just so happen to not go to split decision, I'm going all with Leon on this one. If we're talking anything before the end of the fight, Leon must have landed some type of strike to knock him out. If we're going all the way to the end, I really give that the upper hand to Sean Brady because I'm assuming that you know, like other people who train and plan and have conversations, they went, you know how you beat him, right? You get him on his back. He gets really aggravated. He gets really the plan goes out of the window when you aggravate him. All we gotta do is ride him all the way to the end of the match. And boom. And Sean Brady is known for doing that. And of course, one of the things I give Leon credit for was throughout the entire match, while Bilal was on him, was in dominant position, and he was striking, he never gave up any of the limbs in order to get submitted. You know what I'm saying? That's where guys normally take the biggest L's. They're getting punched, they're getting striked, they're getting those uppercuts sneaking up under the chin, and then they reach back or they reach up, and here goes an arm. That is what you don't want to do against Sean Brady. Sean Brady will definitely take an arm, an elbow, a rear naked as way faster than Bilal. I think Bilal is less likely to submit someone than Sean Brady. So once again, man, as we like to do here, as you hear me straddle fences left and right, I'm going to go with my brain on this one. Okay. My brain is telling me Brady will win by points. Okay. My brain is telling me Brady will win by being in dominant position longer than Leon will. But my heart is telling me, hey, look, points, old school fighting, is going to end up with Leon and win. And somewhere in this, and I'm going to tell you guys, if Leon loses this one, right? If he loses this one, I think it's going to set up for one of the fights that I've always wanted to see, which would kind of be exciting to me, which is a English guy matchup, where maybe we get Michael Venom Page versus Leon eventually. At one point in time that would have been extremely exciting. Um, but of course, Michael MVP's got some work to do in the UFC ranks. But MVP's already proven his name in one Bellator. But now, if somehow, some way, we get a loss and we got to just make a fight for Leon, that actually accentuates him, that he could possibly be a co-main on another fight night later on down the line, I'd stick him in there with MVP. But this doesn't bode well for him, in my opinion, because Brady can definitely take his back, get him to do something he's not used to, and somehow get submitted. So I'm rolling with the brain on this one with Sean Brady. But Leon, I'm rocking with you if you see this, and if you put him out, I wouldn't be surprised. Straight up, straight like that.
Yeah, no, I can't really disagree with anything you said there. And definitely, I think Leon to me has never been like the volume kind of puncher and stuff. The Usman knockout was when he was down multiple rounds and stuff. So that was just kind of a little bit more behind my decisioning and deciding to go with Brady. I think even if Leon wins this fight, um, they're going to make him fight one more before Bilal Muhammad. Like realistically, if he wins this, I think they'll try to maybe do like Ian Gary versus Leon or something like that. I think that'd be a good one, but yeah, I don't know if he drops this. It's really hard to say where you put him. I personally wouldn't mind the MVP thing, stylistically. I think some people might not enjoy it. I'm sick enough. I definitely will. Give me all those feints.
Yeah, man,
Um,
for sure. Fate City.
yeah.
Two English guys, two guys who and MVP even said it when he was coming into the promotion. He's seen Leon since he's a kid, and they've been kind of circling each other in different promotions the entire time. I think it'd be an exciting fight. Botkins, I don't know if Botkins is watching, but Botkins always makes fun of me because I think the BMF belt is one of the most exciting belts in the UFC. And that type of matchup, MVP, Leon Edwards, that's a BMF worthy style fight. So once again, I'm looking forward to seeing it this weekend. We pretty much picked them all for the UFC fight night in England at the O2 Arena. I'm excited to see it, and I can't wait to do so. What do I got now? You know how I do. I got just a little bit of boxing because it's happening, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so before we get out of here, man, just to close it out. So this past weekend, we got an opportunity to see something I didn't necessarily expect to happen, and I didn't expect it to be such a dominant performance. But we got to see Edward Berlanga knock out Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz in the first round in their co-feature fight Saturday night at the Caribe Royale in Orlando, Florida. If you guys don't remember, Edward Berlanga got in there with Canelo. And so Canelo gave him some love, gave him some appreciation. He really got in there and showed out a little bit a couple last year. And then Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz, he was not prepared for that. He came into the weigh-ins looking, although made weight, he looked very much out of shape. You can make weight and not be in shape. I think that was pretty much what it was with Gonzalez Ortiz this time. But towards the end of the fight, once again, Berlanga goes out there and they go, "Oh yeah, well, who do you want to fight?" And of course, with anything, with anybody who wants to make money, you got to call him out. You got to say his name. But at the same time, you got to call out the people under him too. That's what made me proud. As I read straight from Boxing News 24, this article written by James DeGrad, he pretty much went out there and he said, "Now I'm a free agent. I caught the flu a week before the fight. I was really sick. I'm 168. I'm looking to take over the division and be king. Jaime Munguia, scary fight. Jamal Charlo or Jamel Charlo, technically scary fight. Caleb Plant, scary fight. And Canelo. Oh, nah, maybe not Saul Canelo. The experience was amazing. He went from middle school to college, he said. Berlanga was talking about fighting Canelo. But then, of course, at the end, what does he do? He strikes the match that sometimes puts some fighters in a ditch. He goes, F. Caleb Plant. What? F. Caleb Plant. And I don't know if you know, but if you know anything about boxing, Caleb Plant, although, not racially stereotyping him. He's not a soft white guy. He's not that. No, Caleb Plant slaps guys backstage, puts hands on boxers, no matter what color you are. I really like Caleb Plant as a boxer, especially in competition like this. So Berlanga may have bitten off more than he could chew because Caleb Plant is definitely one of those guys that comes in there and is looking for a fight. It's not one of those stand around. No, no, no. Caleb Plant is going to put it on the gloves and put it on the mat for 12 rounds. But I do like the call out. But once again, calling out Canelo. Canelo's got a full schedule, baby. Canelo can't do nothing. You know what's going on? Canelo right now, of course, in a week, we should be ready for that. We'll probably talk about that with Botkins in a week or so, Bobby, where Canelo's next fight is going to be in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, as he takes what is not called a tune-up fight, but to me is a tune-up fight as it takes on William Skull May 3rd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, as he gets ready for his potential fight, which we pretty much know is going to happen against Terrence Bud Crawford in Las Vegas in September. So
Such
right
a
now,
tune-up fight. I hope he slips on a banana peel.
it's liable that Canelo doesn't go 110%, puts on a show. He loves the guys out there in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. He loves Turkey Al Sheikh. He loves to make sure that no matter what he puts his body through, that they're satisfied and that they're practically throwing millions of dollars in the ring at him when it's over. So I can't wait to see that in about a week, and we'll get more into that card next week. But right now, we're just going to give a little love to Edward Berlanga. And, we're going to give a big shout out to our guy, Caleb Plant. We're going to hope, Caleb Plant heard it through the grapevine that Edward Berlanga said his name. A big shouts out to James DeGrad writing that article for Boxing News 24. Great read. Make sure you go check it out. Anything else you want to throw out there, Bobby, man, for the show before we get up out of here?
I mean, since we're in London, I think it's only fair to point out that today marks the 494th day that Tom Aspinall has been the interim heavyweight champion. Um, already defended the title once. I know he will be meeting with the brass this weekend in London. So hold strong, Tom, and hopefully you get that done. Because if that ain't done by June, I think you might need to jump out and look for a new opponent. Because I don't know how much longer he can hold up on the sidelines. But I'm sure we'll get into that next week when Tom Aspinall's #1 fan is back.
Of course, man. Big shouts out to our brother Bikins, who right now is possibly writing letters and sending texts through carrier pigeon as he is out of electricity at the moment. But we want to send our prayers and our well wishes to Bikins and his family and everybody who may be affected by those hurricanes out there in the Midwest that just happened this weekend. Bikins said it's a possibility they could be out of power for about 2 or 3 days, man. And I don't know about you, but no electricity for 2 or 3 days for me, I am gonna start having to think about getting a hotel. But hey, I'm from South Carolina. We prepare, we prep, we pull out the grill, we cook the food that was in the freezer, and we keep it moving, man. So big shouts out to everybody. Shouts out to Bikins and his family. You guys stay safe and be careful. And we'll be waiting for you next week, Bikins, man. So thanks again, Bobby, for hanging in there with me, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know how we do it. You're always welcome to join me on Fridays on In the Hoop. I'm looking forward to talking some basketball this coming weekend because it seems like the NBA is going crazy as everybody wants to take a break. But once again, this is Head Kicks and Haymakers. It's your boy K Witcham. I was #1 draft pick. That is Mr. Bobby Blunts. We will be back again next week, Wednesday at 9 o'clock on the dot, live in full effect with our brother Nick Bodkins leading the way as usual. So for me, your boy K Witt, and for Bobby Bloods, this has been another episode of Head Kicks and Haymakers. We out, y'all. Peace.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.